Hey there, welcome to all of my replay viewers. Welcome back to my live broadcast. I'm Shanta Prince, and I work with women coaches and I help them to leverage their gifts and expertise to build profitable coaching and consulting brands. So, last week I talked to you about sales, and I wanted to come back and continue the conversation around sales. So last week I gave you three things that you can do to close a sale in during that week. So I wanted to come back and talk a little bit more about selling because I'm trying to silence my phone because for some reason when I get on live, like stuff likes to pop off. So let me silence my phone real quick. But I wanted to talk more about continue the conversation on sales because what I'm noticing is that first of all, sales is huge. If you are in any kind of business, you gotta sell. Like it's just a part of building a business. Like sales is a must. And I always feel some kind of way when I see ads, when I see people running their ads, and then I'll see like a potential customer or someone commenting saying, "Well, I don't like that I clicked on this and then there was an upsell," and I'm like, I always kind of laugh a little bit because I'm like, well, that's a business and they have to sell to remain in business. And so the thing is, when it comes to sales, you gotta sell. It's mandatory. It's not optional. And I think that from my experience and my engagement with people, those who want to build a profitable coaching or consulting brand, is the process of sales is something that's often mysterious. It seems mysterious as far as, okay, well, how do I take a person from being a prospect to a paying customer or a paying client? And it seems mysterious because it's like, well, what goes on behind the scenes? What's happening to, convert this person from being a prospect to a paying customer or client? So the sales process can be different for different people. So inside of my program, I do talk to my clients we talk about the sales process. As a matter of fact, we've been focusing heavily on sales for the last maybe 4 to 5 weeks. So each person has a sales process and it could be different from person to person, depending on who you are, your personality, your brand style, and all of those things. So what I teach when it comes to sales is I teach the entire process. And I really believe that in order to be successful, you have to master this. You have to make up your mind that you're going to master sales. Now, of course, you can hire somebody to do the selling for you. However, I don't believe in hiring somebody unless you at least know what you're doing when it comes to sales. Like, I don't think you have to be selling every day all day to be successful, but I do think that you should be the best salesperson in your business because let's say all of your people decided one day they were going to just walk out. Like, I pray that that doesn't happen to you, but just as an example, you have to be able to maintain your baby, your business, right? You start that thing out, your business becomes your baby, and your everything that you do is put into growing it into a healthy business that provides for you and for your family. So I always believe that you need to know you need to know how to sell in the event that something like that happens. I know we've probably all heard stories about like people quitting at the last minute or people quitting without notice, and then all of a sudden you got to jump in and do what you got to do to take care of your baby. So you can definitely hire people to help you sell, but you still need to learn how to sell because who's going to train them? How are you going to teach them how to sell if you don't know how to sell? So I think that sales mastery is something that you really got to focus on, but the process can be really complicated. I'm going to make it very simple today because overthinking does not get anybody anywhere, right? You can't really sell by overthinking. I was just talking to my mentor about this, about how um the more I sell, the more I learn, not just about like my audience, but I learn a lot about myself the more I'm engaged with selling. And it makes a huge difference. You really can't learn how to drive a car by just reading a book. So when I was in driver's ed, I was in high school and it was winter time when it was time for us to start driving. So we had to have a certain amount of practice driving on the highway and a certain amount of practice driving on regular streets. Well, when it was my day to drive on the highway, I remember just like it was yesterday. Um, there were three of us. We were all girls, and I was the last one to drive. So when we got on the highway, right? So I grew up in Illinois, and I was born in Chicago, and I grew up is south of Chicago. So the main interstate there is Interstate 57. So I-57. So I got on I-57 in in the there was a snowstorm going on. It pretty much was like a blizzard. Like the ground had snow, the streets had snow, plenty of snow, and it was snowing heavily while while I was driving on Interstate 57. But because of that, I'm pretty awesome with driving on snow and in driving in adverse conditions because I mean I think anybody who grew up in the Midwest, we know how to hold it down on some snow. So now that I live in the South, like I stay at home when it snows because I just feel like people in the South don't know how to drive on snow because they're not used to getting snow so much. So I stay off the streets because I'm like, these people do not know how to drive on snow. They don't know, they don't understand the concept of black ice. So I stay off the streets when it's snowing. But I said all that to say that there was a part of driver's ed that was like in the classroom. That's classroom information. And as a matter of fact, I still remember a lot of the things, a lot of the rules of the road that some of those uncommon rules of the road, or like some of the things that you may have forgotten, or some of the little tiny details about the rules of the road. I still remember all of those things. However, even though I had the information, I really didn't learn how to drive until I actually got on the road. Okay. That's how I learned how to drive. And even to this day, when I'm in a situation where there's snow and ice, I just go right on through because I know what I'm doing when it comes to snow and ice because that's how I learned how to drive is in snow and on ice. So sales is a lot like that. Like you can have the information, but you really don't learn how to sell until you sell. So, one of the things that I'm working on with my clients right now, and I'm super excited because some of them are really crushing it when it comes to sales. They're stepping out, they're doing different things, they're talking to people, they're communicating with people, and they're leveling up on their sales game. So, I would tell you that the first part about selling is you got to find the right people to sell to. A lot of times, when it comes to selling your products and selling your programs, sometimes it's not that your product or program is not good, but it could be that it's possible that you haven't put that offer in front of the right people. That's one possibility. So the first thing about selling is you got to find the right people to sell to. You have to find your ideal client. You have to find the people who need your products, who want your product or your services. So that's the first step. So if you're brand new to sales, in essence, that is lead generation. You're finding leads. Okay. When I was in real estate, when I got my real estate license, I was at a real estate office where a big part of what we did on a weekly basis was training. And I thought that was amazing because I was a brand new real estate agent. So I think every Tuesday morning I would go in to learn how to sell, learn how to sell houses. And my trainer was really amazing at what he does. And one of the things that he always talked about was leads, leads, leads. And so leads are people who could be a potential customer or client. So you have to find leads. So you have to actively engage in generating leads. I will tell you that I think this is one of the biggest struggles when it comes to running a profitable coaching or consulting business is finding leads. A lot of people don't know how to do that. I do teach that and I help my clients with lead generation so that they're not struggling to find the right people to sell to. So number one, you got to find the right people to sell to. You could have an amazing product or program, but if you're trying to sell it to the wrong people, it will never sell. It will never move because you're not putting it in front of the right people. So you got to find the right people, number one. The second thing with sales is you got to find out if you can actually help them. And there are several different ways that you can do that. First, the first and like simplest way to do it is to talk to them and figure out what they need and want. So you got to find out if you can actually help them. There are other ways you can figure that out. There are certain things that you can do with your lead. There's certain questions you can ask in a group setting email. There's so many different ways to find out if you can actually help the person. But that is that's a huge step when it comes to selling. So for example, I spoke to someone and I was like very excited about helping her to start her program. So, one of the things that I do is I design high ticket offers for my clients. So I was excited to help her get going with that. But as I talked to her, I found out that she wasn't really interested in building a profitable coaching business until a year away. So her thing was, okay, I need a good year to finish up some of the things that I'm working on. And then next year I will start working on building my coaching business. So even though she's my ideal client, I can't actually help her if she's not interested in starting right now. So that's what I mean by like figuring out if you could actually help the person. So once you figure out if you can actually help the person, then you make them an offer. You offer them your product or your services. And that's really the essence of what sales is all about. Now, there's some things, in between those steps that I just gave you that you can focus on. But in essence, overall, selling is finding the right people, seeing if you can help them, and then making them an offer. That's like that's as simple as I can make it. I will tell you that another thing that I don't think people understand. I had a lady reach out to me on LinkedIn, and I actually did like a call with her, and she made me an offer. It just wasn't the right time for me. It wasn't something that I was interested in doing at that time. But she made me an offer, and this was like, okay, we're in October. This was like earlier in the year. She made me an offer. It wasn't the right time, but I haven't heard from her since. Right? Like I haven't heard from this person since then. And one of the things that is so important is to really understand that a no may just be a not right now. And had she reached out to me for other things, I may have possibly bought something else from her. If she made me a different offer, maybe, that offer wasn't right, but maybe a different offer that she had could have been right. But I wouldn't know that because she hasn't reached out to me since then. So a big part of sales is making sure you're staying in contact with people and really focusing on building relationships. Like I teach this all the time, the importance of building a relationship. So yes, as businesses, we got to make money. We got to sell in order to stay to maintain our businesses. However, I feel like connection is a currency. And when you connect with people, you can increase your bottom line by building and by starting and maintaining connections with people. You cannot build a business without buyers, without people. And I see this all the time where I meet people, coaches who they have these systems set in place and they prefer to bring in clients through systems, which I don't see anything wrong with that. But their thing is, they don't really want to talk to people. They just want to like bring people in through some type of automated system. The person closes and now they're in their program. For me, I like to talk to people. I like to communicate with people. I like to build relationships with people. That's important to me with my business. And that's why I honestly believe I have the best clients. I feel like I have the best clients because I've built relationships with them. And you know what? I really do care about their success. I care about your success. And that all came out of focusing on building a relationship. So I feel like a lot of sales is around connecting with people and building relationships with people and finding out exactly what they need. I just made it pivot in one of my offers because after talking to my audience and hearing and listening to them, I realized, okay, wait a minute, this might not be the best way to make this happen because I'm learning that my audience prefers it this way. So guess what I did? I made a pivot because I'm like, my audience needs it like this. So guess what I did? I made that pivot and I said, one of my clients and I always talk about this saying that I have. And my saying is one thing I'm going to do is serve my clients. One thing I'm going to do is serve. That's one of the things that I do best. And so, as a part of service, as a part of excellence in service, I made the pivot so that I can serve my people better. And that comes out of having conversations with people, talking back to people, building relationships with people. Okay. So sales in essence is finding the right people, finding out if you can help them, and then making them an offer. And it doesn't have to be, and keeping in mind that a no may just mean not right now. Now is not a good time. I talk to a lot of people who are like, now is not a good time. And some people will tell me, okay, reach back out to me in a month or reach back out to me in a couple of weeks. And so I do. I reach back out to them. I follow back up with them and I let them know when I have other things, other offers coming. So when you are focusing on selling something, now this is one thing that you can do without even spending ads. I know a lot of people want to get straight to the ads. I had a client who she was like, I want to learn, I want to run ads. And I'm like, first we got to make sure your program is going to sell. Let's get you a couple of sales first and then like make sure that your program is something that people actually want before you jump into running ads. But you can actually sell without running any ads at all. So if you're one of those people who you're like, oh, I need to run ads, I need to spend money on ads, you absolutely do not unless you want to or unless your business is ready for that. You don't need to come out of the gate spending money on ads. There's so many ways that you can close clients without spending a lot of money on ads. So the stuff that I'm talking about is a great way to close sales without even spending money on ads. So the way that I prefer for my clients to do it, and they're okay with this as well, is to get your offer dialed in. Make sure you got people that actually want to join your program. Once you get people in your program, you can refine it, you can make it better. And once you know that your program is profitable, then you can run ads to it. Because what happens is if your program is not selling and you spend $3,000 on ads and no one buys your program, then you won't get a return on that investment that you put into those ads. That's why I recommend making sure your program is profitable before you run ads to it so that you can get a return on your investment. Now, ask me how I know that. I've spent $1,000 on ads before and did not get a return. So that's why I'm not so quick to rush my clients into running ads because I want to make sure that their program is profitable first. But the stuff that we're talking about is you can do this stuff organically without, hey, you can do this stuff without spending a lot of money on ads. And it's really about like, y'all, like it is about basic foundations of pretty much anything you do in life. Like anything that you do, if you're being kind, if you're being a kind human, right? That's one of the biggest things about selling, right? It's being a kind human and making sure you're showing up and then people will start to understand that you really do care. Somebody messaged me that the other day and they said, you really do care. And I'm like, I absolutely do. But I didn't tell her, oh, I care about your success. She saw that I care about her success by my actions. And if you're showing up and you're connecting with people on a regular basis, you and and talking about your what you offer, letting people know how they can work with you, you will see the kind of sales you want to get. So there's a constant process, right? All of this stuff is rinse and repeat. If you're finding the right people, growing your audience, right? Filling your audience up with the right people, focusing on the quality of the people in your audience, not necessarily the quantity, right? You can, I promise you, you can do more with 25 people who love what you offer than you can do with 25,000 people who don't care about what you offer. That makes a huge difference. Like I had a $25,000 launch with a very, very tiny audience of people who were interested in what I had to offer. Very tiny launch. And it was a $25,000 launch. And it was just, I mean, like it was such a tiny launch. But what I did was focus on serving people. I did what I do best and I served people and made $25,000. And so that's what I mean by focusing on the quality of who you're filling your audience with and not getting so wrapped up in the numbers. Yes, you know, you've probably heard me say that sales is a numbers game. And but there's two sides to that coin. It is a numbers game because you need people to sell to. Like you can't sell to no one, right? So, and I've heard the argument that sales is not a numbers game. And in some cases that may be true, but you can't sell to anyone. If your number is zero, then you can't sell. Like you have to have some people to sell to. But when I say that sales is a numbers game, what I mean is you got to have somebody to sell to. Now, there are some times where you may have 100 people sign up for your launch, and you may be able to have a 25 or $50,000 launch depending on what you're selling. But there may also be a time where you have 500 people in your launch, and then you may make less than when you had the 100 people in your launch. So you do have to have some people to sell to, but the quality of people who you're selling to makes all the difference. So focusing on selling to the right people, focusing on bringing the right people into your audience. Don't be that person who just wants people in your audience. When I first started out, I didn't care who was following my page. I didn't care who signed up for my email list, but I quickly discovered that that is not the way to do business, because I would launch things and they wouldn't sell because I was marketing to the wrong people. That's why I said the first thing with selling is finding the right people, making sure you're making offers to the right people. Okay. So that is, in essence, in a quick nutshell, that is sales made simple. Now, I do teach sales more in detail inside of my program. So if you're one of those people who, like, okay, maybe you already have a program and you're like, I need more sales, I need more people into my program, I am your girl. I also work with people who are brand new to launching their coaching or consulting business, and I help them to design their offer, and then I show them how to sell it. So if you're a person, you're like, okay, I need a program and then I need to know how to sell it, I am your girl for that. And I will tell you that the stuff that I do inside of my program, I don't see it that often, where you actually have someone to help you put your offer together, help you with your landing pages, help you with your sales pages, help you with anything, help you with your email sequences, your sales sequences, help you with navigating through closing a sale. I don't see it that often. Now I see it on different levels, but I don't see it as much as I used to, with like people actually helping you to get those things done that you need to have in order to sell. So inside of my program, I actually help my clients with all of their content around selling, regular content, weekly content, but the content of their program, I help them to design their program, decide what kind of content they're going to be putting out, what kind of deliverables they can share when it comes to their program. But I really don't see it as often where you can come and show off what you created and then get some feedback on it. Like, this is what I'm working on. This is what I'm trying, and you could actually get feedback so that you can make sure that what you're putting out there is working for you. What you're putting out there is valuable and that it looks great. So if you're interested in learning more detail about sales, how to take a person from a potential client to a paying client, then just send me a quick message and let me know, hey, Shanta, I want to learn more about sales and I want to get a sales process together for myself. Listen, we're getting ready to start this new year. You can start the new year off with having a strong sales process that you're confident about, that you feel good about, so that you can start making the kind of money you want to make. And these skills, when it comes to selling, once you learn this stuff, you can take it anywhere. You can take it into any business or anything that you decide to do. So I'll be back next week at the same time. I'll go live every week at 12. Now I just just recently I have a session that I attend right before 12 o'clock. So sometimes I pop on here, to be honest. I pop on here a little bit late because I'm trying to wrap up another call right before this. So if you're watching for me to go live, if I'm not live at exactly 12, sometimes it'll be a few minutes after 12 because I'm trying to wrap up the previous call. But I'll be back next week at the same time and at the same place. And I'll be seeing you again soon. Now, if you have any questions about sales or selling, feel free to send me a message. If you need help with sales or selling, send me a message. If you're watching on YouTube, just email me at info@shantaprince.com. Have a great Thursday, and I hope your weekend is amazing. I'll see you again soon. Have a great one.